There is a brand new action movie called The Protege that hits cinemas this weekend. So if you're really interested in my thoughts on the movie, then let's head on over to the review. Welcome back, film fans. This is Let's Be Real, Brad. Today on the channel, I want to be talking about the brand new action thriller film called The Protege. The Protege is directed by Martin Campbell, and it stars Michael Keaton, Maggie Q, and Samuel L. Jackson. Before going into this film, I was quite excited to see it because if you guys know director Martin Campbell, he has directed some okay, mediocre movies in the past, but he has directed Casino Royale and GoldenEye of the James Bond franchise, and that is exactly what this movie reminded me of. So going into it, I thought we were getting a nice return back into the action thriller genre that Martin Campbell was very good at with the likes of those particular movies. So now that we finally got The Protege, I think this is a decent to okay action movie. The reason for this is because I think this is a movie that we have all seen before, and it doesn't do anything new or exciting to beef up the action thriller genre. So now that I have seen The Protege, is this movie worth the watch? And I have to say yes and no. So let's get into some of the positives first, and let's start with the acting. The acting is the biggest standout of this movie because Maggie Q, Michael Keaton, and Samuel L. Jackson are all terrific in this movie. Without them in the lead roles, I don't think this movie would have been as entertaining as it was because they carry this movie with their great performances, and they are so entertaining in every scene they are in. Sure, some of the dialogue is really cheesy and sometimes a little too dumb, but they are able to take this dialogue and just express it in the coolest, sexiest, and snappiest way possible that I was having a great time with. Maggie Q is an absolute badass, and I would love to see her in more roles like this because I thought she was the absolute best part of this entire film, as the movie does center around her, which made this movie a lot better. My next positive with this movie is the action scenes. The action scenes are shot decently well considering that Martin Campbell has dabbled in the action thriller genre before, like I was talking about with the previous James Bond films. I found that the action was very gruesome, violent, bloody, and sometimes a little too over the top, but I was so invested into the action because it is shot well, it's edited pretty decently, and you really do feel like these are the actors actually smashing each other in the head with frying pans or with knives every single time. My next positive is the pacing. This movie flies by so fast, and I feel like that could also be a criticism to the film that we'll get into later. But I do think that being able to have a fast-paced action movie like this does keep you very much entertained, and especially because there is a mystery that is the backbone of the story, and you're trying to figure out what is going on. And with having a great pace to the film, you're going to be a lot more invested into the story within the characters. And for the most part, this movie is quite entertaining, and I think it moves along quite well. And my last positive here is the dialogue. For the most part, I really enjoy this cheesy, snappy dialogue that the characters are given, even though sometimes it is really bad and sometimes too cheesy for my liking. But I felt like it went back to those original action thriller kind of movies. Now, let's get into the boatload of negatives this movie has, and we're going to start with the cliched story. This is a movie you have clearly seen before, and it doesn't do anything to boost and make the action genre feel fresh again. And I felt like the story could have been easily replaced by anything more interesting. The beginning of this film is quite interesting, and it has a setup that you've seen before, which is okay. But by the time you get to the third act of the movie, you realize there was no point to the story whatsoever. I felt like it just led to a dead end, and then nothing else went about it. There are scenes in this movie that don't match up with each other, and it happens so frequently where there's a character in one scene and they're magically in the next scene, and you're just supposed to figure out, okay, well, they just magically went to this scene, but it just doesn't have that nice cohesive feel to the film, and it almost feels like if this had a director's cut, I think this movie would probably be a little bit better, because I was very confused once we started getting into the later part of the film, because I didn't understand what the hell was going on most of the movie. And speaking of the cliched story and some of the bad writing, I feel like the bad writing takes the cake for the biggest negative of this movie because there are so many scenes that are not structured all that well. And my last negative with this movie is the cinematography. I think this is a bland looking action film that could have had so much style and so many great colors going on, but it just feels so bland looking. So overall, guys, The Protege is a movie that you have seen before, and it doesn't do anything to expand the action genre, but with good acting, some pretty solid action scenes, and to be very entertaining, I think if you're able to turn your brain off with this film, I think you can enjoy it. But if you have been interested to see it, I would just wait to watch it as a rental or see it at a matinee show. So I'm going to be giving The Protege a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the following review.